Alright, we'll see how that is. Yeah. Okay, so pretty much I am going to start with an introduction, basically telling you guys like what this stream is about and why we're doing it. Because everything up until now, I have pretty much come up with, what we're doing, how we're doing things, and it's a lot of my opinion versus what your guys' opinions are. So pretty much I am going to have about 10 points that we're going to go over for the future of Near Reality and what we want to, work on and change and implement into the game. And for each point, I want to open up Q&A for each and every one of you. Express your concerns, ask any questions, recommend content that you guys may want. Because there is a lot, and there's a lot of stuff that we're working on, and there's a lot of stuff that we have to do. So first off, I just want to talk about Group Iron Man and the systems that we implemented with Group Iron Man, such as the challenge system and everything in regards to that, because I think it was quite a success with how people are interacting with the game, and I want to transition that into events for everybody, so it's not just focused on Group Iron Man. For example, when we release Nightmare in the coming week or two, we can implement literally the same exact interface, and people will automatically be able to participate on these high scores. We will, have rewards, probably 2 to 3 bill per highlight event that we release, or highlight content that we release, such as, Nightmare. We'll probably give away, 2 bill. First orb set, we'll give away 1 bill, first pet, 500 mil, and so forth. And there's a lot of cool things that we can do with the system, whereas in the past, it was not automated, and it's really hard to keep track of who is receiving items, who is getting items, and, it's just kind of a mess, and that's something we want to go away for, or, stray away from, and implement more automated systems, so community is happier in regards to that. And also with that, I want to talk about Hardcore Group Iron Man. We actually had the system finished, and we did not implement it because I think it could be a cool event for the future. I don't know what your guys' opinions are of Hardcore Group Iron Man, if it's even necessary, if people want it, or anything in regards to that. As for Deadman mode, yeah, we're going to go over that later in the stream. Whole wilderness content expansion I'll be talking about, because that is going to be coming up within the next month or so. But like I said, I have about 10 points. So for each point, we'll do a quick Q&A. I guess the first one we'll talk about is the challenge system. If you guys are happy with that, if there's anything you guys would like to see different, and your thoughts on Hardcore Group Iron Man. And I guess I'll utilize the chat for now with this. Perhaps in the future, we could do something on Discord. But I do like the ability to show my screen, whether or not I'm talking and so forth like that. But yeah, I guess I'll open up the first Q&A for Group Iron Man and the challenge system, if there's any changes you guys want to see. If not, I will continue to the next point in, 60 seconds, I guess, if nobody wants to weigh in, and I'll just continue onwards. Okay. We will move forward then. Yeah, I mean, the system in general was, I don't know, pretty close to, OSRS Group Iron Man, and there's definitely some things that we do want to improve. And that is 100% understood. And if we do hardcore Group Iron Man, those things will be resolved because, a lot of the issues with people leaving groups, joining groups, and also greater than 5 people playing. If it was really greater than 5 people playing, some people don't have the time. Perhaps we set up restrictions on people playing the hardcore Group Iron Man if we do another large event, just so everybody, I understand people have jobs, they have work, and I really just wanted this first event just to have no restrictions and see how well it ran. But I do think the challenges and everything were pretty, solid. And there was definitely, I don't know, some issues with the challenges. I think a lot of the wilderness challenges were far too easy. Yes, after the competition, we will implement a system where you can basically vote as a group if you want to kick somebody, if you want to implement a new user, stuff like that. So that will be coming in the future. It's just gonna, take a little bit of time, but that will come with hardcore Group Iron Man if we do that. The system is done. I don't know if it's too soon to, run another large competition. I don't know. That's just something we'll have to see, because we do want to be releasing Deadman mode within the next month, or the beta Deadman mode, that is. But so, I mean, that's pretty much it for that. There's obviously some things that we can work on and implement for the future Group Ironmans, because it's, it's a great system. It's a lot of fun. And I know many of you guys did enjoy it. So I guess we'll move on to the next point, which will be the events that will be starting on December 1st. So we want to sort of implement a system where it's a lot more fun than the Halloween event system, because we weren't able to release the Halloween event. There was just a lot of issues with it, and simply just does not have enough time with Group Iron Man release. So with the launch of the Christmas system, whatever you want to call it, Christmas event system, we'll be releasing 3 main things, which are the Advent of Christmas event, which is a calendar, basically, 1 to 25 days. It'll be a interface that's opened in game, and you'll be able to participate in challenges for each day. There'll be 25 challenges, and if you complete a challenge, you'll be submitted into a lottery, basically. So let's say if the first challenge is do 50 barrows runs, it'll be similar to the system we have here, but it'll be a little different. So you'll do your event, you'll be put in the lottery draw, and we'll do either donator pins or OSRSGP giveaways. I don't know the amount that we're going to do. It'll probably be, I don't know, 5 bill perhaps. I don't know, whatever, keeps people interested in playing day to day throughout the Christmas time. And also, well, as for the skillers, with the advent of Christmas, there's going to be, half of them will be skilling events. Make X amount of potions, do this event, do Volcano 20 kills one day. The advent of Christmas will not just be combat events. They will be a ton of different skilling events as well. Yeah, so 100% Advent of Christmas will be probably 50-50 in regards to PVM and skilling. Probably not much wilderness, as there will be a Santa... yeah, there'll probably not be much wilderness when it comes to the Christmas events themselves. With that, we want to release a world boss that's basically Santa, that gives you a Christmas mystery box with limited edition items that people can go every, I don't know the exact, like if it's going to be 1 hour, every 2 hours, every 3 hours, whatever it may be. I do want to do a bi-hourly Santa boss that's similar to Zamfir. I think that'll be fun for people to, work with the community to learn how to kill a new boss. It'll be fun for the Christmas, I don't know, spirit. And I think that'll be a great addition to the events that we'll be launching for Christmas. And then with that, we'll have a traditional Christmas event. It will be a remake of one of the Christmas events in the last 10 years. That'll probably be 1-to-1. And we'll give a limited edition item. Probably will be untradeable, but the Christmas time should have a lot of fun events and be pretty fun for everyone. All right. Yeah, we'll make Santa pretty OP. But we'll make it so that you'll have to work as a team too, or as a community to kill it. And as for the drops, it'll probably be mainly some sort of Christmas mystery box, secondaries, supplies, and a chance of probably just exclusive Christmas items. Blood tentacles, that is the item or the pet from the wilderness vaults. Yeah, for the PKP shop, we're going to get to that a little later. We have a entire expansion for shops. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the Christmas segment. If you guys have any recommendations, Santa pet, we could probably do that. Could be fun, limited edition pet. But if you guys have any questions, concerns about what we're doing on Christmas, or you guys just have any suggestions with the Christmas events, let me know and we can go from there. So as for secondaries, that was an issue that was brought up greatly for standard accounts because there was no shop, there was nothing for them, and we did implement a whole secondary shop, but for Iron Man that was definitely an issue. So what we did want to implement was a secondaries box, basically. So there are supply boxes on the drop table. The group that dropped the angelic artifact was paid for. You can do : GIM in game to see the winner of that event. Christmas decoration at home, yes, that's a given. Snow, Christmas tree, etc. But for secondaries, yeah, there will be a implementation of a secondary supply casket instead of the traditional supply casket that we have right now. So it'll give you pretty much just the base secondaries in the shop from, I believe it is Primula. So majority of these items will be on the drop table for the secondary supply casket. The group that won, it was NR Cashouts. I don't know their individual names, but anybody can look at this through the scoreboard or : GIM. All right. Next question. Do you plan on making skilling more enjoyable instead of going 1-to-1 OSRS? I mean, there isn't much that we can do in regards to that. In the future, we do want to implement a perk system per se, where you'll sacrifice items, unlock points, and you'll have benefits based on what you want to unlock on those points. So that will give some difference to the traditional skilling. So for example, chance of fishing double sharks or chance of fishing double fish, faster fishing chances. There's a ton of different nuances we can do. It will be similar to how the leagues systems worked, with just a lot of different skill perks, and it won't just be, you know, for fishing. It'll be for nearly every skill, and there'll be a bunch of different things you can upgrade and expand upon. Yeah, I mean, Hunter, there is a lot of issues that need to be worked on. I don't believe kebits work. Butterflies do not work. I don't believe deadfall works either. I do believe pitfalls work. Not 100% sure, but everything else is pretty solid. And then aerial fishing, there's going to be a lot of polls in the coming future of exactly what scaling expansions people want. I know the last post that I released, because we just hired a new developer, we started working on Guardians of the Rift pretty much instantly after that poll was finalized. So that will probably be the first scaling expansion. There's definitely so much more that we have to do, such as Temperos, Herbivore, obviously aerial fishing, and much other stuff. And then, that'll come with time. We have 5 full-time developers, and the majority of them are working on major content expansions, such as The Nightmare, Tombs of Amaskia, and so forth. Yeah, so a lot of those things, faster tree chopping rates, multiple ores from the same rocks, those will come with the sacrificial system. They will allow you to customize a lot of your gameplay. It'll be more like an RSPS. It will not be so, strict 1-to-1 OSRS. Flask, that would be a change that would have to be pulled, as it gravitates far from OSRS and just the base mechanics. Tick delay when runecrafting at altars. Yeah, so actually that was an update that OSRS did. I don't remember when, but that is actually written down in some of our bug fixes that we do have to fix. Next, could you possibly add more higher level talismans to pickpocket tables? The blood talisman is a 1 in 1,000 rate from the Vires, pretty much every Vire, and you can also kill any Vire, even the level 60s or 70s, at a 1 in 200 rate for the blood talisman. As for the death talisman, I'm not 100% sure what drops it, because I only pretty much touched the death talisman, or blood talisman. So yeah, so there's pretty much only 2. As for pickpocketing, I don't believe there's anything else. I can write a note for that, and we can look into it for the death talisman. Is there any other ones that you were interested about? Actually, for the death talisman, with the release of Guardians of the Rift, they will be pretty easily obtainable with the rewards that you get from Guardians of the Rift. No, you cannot receive DK rings from Ringness. So with Guardians of the Rift, that will bring about all the talismans that you can buy from the shop. Yeah, Barbie, that is pretty much what we're going to be going for with the sacrificial system. Probably January-ish. I don't know the exact date. We have a lot of projects that are being worked on right now. If you look at our roadmap, we do have it scheduled in for late December. So you'll probably see it sometime from there. Yes, Death Talisman is 1 in 64 from Dark Beast. Alright. So I'm going to just move on to the next segment because it was quite a few questions. So as we were just talking about events and everything, we did a Creative Hub poll probably a few weeks back about a calendar and bingo event system because we were hosting that large GIM event and, you know, half our player base is non-Iron Man or non-GIM, that is. And obviously we want everybody to be able to participate in events. And much like the Advent or Christmas event where you're entered in a lottery, that is how the one event was going to work, the daily task / calendar system. And I believe it was actually the bingo event that was voted yes for, which looks similar to this. So there'll be a bunch of different ways that you can do it. You'll probably get a free spot in the middle. You can do diagonal, 5 in a row, maybe all corners in the middle. There will be a bunch of stuff like that. Do different events, get a dragon pickaxe, crosses the X, and that will probably be a weekly running event. Whoever gets the first 5 bingos will receive the rewards. I know we want to do a 6-bill OSRS prize pool, so we may run 4 bingos throughout the month. It just all depends. So for the wiki, yeah, we actually have a lot going into the Wikipedia. I have been working on a one-to-one Wikipedia with pretty much all the same tools, calculators, everything that the OSRS Wikipedia has, and I'm adapting it to our Wikipedia and for the custom content that we do have, because obviously our drop rates are different, our scaling pets are different, and yeah, there's a lot of information that we want to implement. We can add information such as Rise of the Six. Let me just pull up the wiki and show you everything, or talk about everything that we're working on. Wilderness Vaults, donor pins and benefits, the home area, Well of Goodwill, all the world boosts that Zamfir possibly can give, gambling, world boss, pets, raids, money making guides, Rise of the Six, how to get started, and a bunch of different other really useful things that new players are very, unsure of. And that is something that we do want to provide, but I've probably put in 100 hours of work in so far, and it's probably 20% done because the current Wikipedia, that's wiki.near-reality.com, is very bare bones, and the new one will be quite a bit, and it's just a lot of work. But pretty much just wanted to show off what we're doing with the bingo system and how we're going to implement that. I think it'll be a great addition to allow all players to have fun, participate in events, log in every single day, do a daily task, have a chance of winning, 200 mil OSRS, whatever it may be. And I think that'll be a pretty cool thing for people to be able to participate in. So for the world boost, as of now, there's only 2 ways of activating world boost. 1, the Well of Goodwill, and 2, Zamfir. So Zamfir is more PVM boosts, things like that. Whereas the Well has 3 boosts, 50% bonus XP, unique votes. It's actually 4, my bad. Blood money, expansions, and what's the 4th one? Double unique drops. Yep. So daily task, yeah, that is a big thing that we want to change. It is not on the horizon anytime soon. We do have a slot in December for a custom content implementation where I think there could be a lot of cool scrolls and things like that implemented to a point shop through the daily task system. And also with that, some, unique items, a few different things that we can do there. So that will be coming next month or two. Gano is dead comment. Yeah, so for Gano, it is always very popular upon release, and the drop rate has to be adjusted as we move into the releases of Near Reality. I know the OG Near Reality, as many of you know it, the items were not worth it after 5 months, 6 months of the game being online, and we would have to update the system or the drop tables for that particular boss and implement better items. And that, that goes with many bosses. For example, we just reduced all the boss drop rates by 40%, and we changed quite a few drop tables about 2 months ago. Just, we listened to the community, implemented things that people wanted, and that was definitely something that is needed. And Gano will be in that as well. RS3 content, yes, 100%. I will be talking about our Slayer expansion a little later, where it will be content that's akin to RS3, which I think will be pretty cool. And we'll get there in about 10 minutes. So the next bit I want to talk about is probably no Q&A on the next part. It's just talking about high scores and how we're going to implement it. It will be an in-game system. It will be pretty interactive. You can look up other people's boss kills, boss timers, world timers of any boss, things like that. You can look up any of their skills, and it will be all done in-game. Won't have to go on the website. It'll be much quicker and more. It'll just be a better system overall. And that will be, you can open it right here, and we'll add probably a little option right here for high scores that'll open it. So this will come with here. And that is being worked on currently right now alongside Sire and Twisted Bow. So that will be done within the next week. High scores will be implemented in game, and you'll be able to see who's number one for each group mode, and also for kill counts. All right. The next part I want to talk about is our overall roadmap. As of right now, I just mentioned that we're working on Sire and Nightmare, and that will probably take us into the next 2 weeks, about a week or two before December, where we get all the events going. But for the overall roadmap, as of right now, we have the Abyssal Sire left to do, which needs to come before the Nightmare, obviously, because of the Bludgeon, and because that'll probably be best in slot outside of the Scythe, obviously, but there's not many Scythes in game. So those two pieces of content will lead us into the Tombs of Amasket, which is also being worked on right now, and that will be pretty much every piece of PVM content from OSRS that we're missing. And when that is done, we will probably start implementing those RS3 pieces of content, such as there's so much stuff we could do. We could do Queen Black Dragon, King, the Cowfight King, and have those rewards be scaled down to work with OSRS, much like how OSRS is doing it with the new weapons. They're all tier 80 weapons, and the power creeps aren't as crazy as it was in RS3, but the passive effects, they're niche passive effects for certain pieces of content, such as the Fang that they just released. It was very OP for certain content pieces, and we would love to do that with future weapons, armors, things like that. But that will probably come after Tombs of Amasket, which we probably have an ETA of 2 months on. It will not be released in November. It is a very large piece of content, and we will probably be one of the only RSPS that will have it one-to-one with OSRS for a very long time. And I think that'll be a great way to get people interested in raids, as it was such a huge success with OSRS. I mean, you can go in there with a very low invocation level, and it's pretty much doable for everyone. They can understand the mechanics, they can learn, they can enjoy it, and the people that do understand the content more and learn it more, they're rewarded more. And that is how most raids, I mean, in my opinion, should be, and that will be very nice to see on Near Reality. So if you guys have any questions about the roadmap, let me know, but pretty much it's Sire and a Nightmare and a Tombstone Masket for main PVM highlight event or highlight content. All right, if we don't have any questions for that, we will continue on to the next part. And this is probably about 70% through the stream. So pretty much getting into a lot of really cool things right now. And to answer your question, custom content, yeah. So what we'll be working on this month is the Slayer expansion. So if you look at the roadmap on the Discord, you'll see that we are going to be releasing a Slayer expansion at the end of November. And everything that we've worked out, pretty much, we are going to be expanding the skill to level 120. So it will be the first skill to go to level 120, and it will bring a new Slayer Master. It'll be Laniakia from RS3. Tombstone Masket will be released in the next 2 to 3 months, hopefully by New Year's, somewhere around there. It will definitely be before February, but it will be in the next 2 to 3 months. But back to the Slayer expansion. So it'll be a level 120 expansion. It'll be the only skill that will... Yeah. It'll be the only skill that goes to level 120. It'll bring a new Slayer Master, like I said, Laniakia, and there'll be 2 parts to it. The first part is a new Slayer dungeon that is basically a superior Fremenic dungeon where all the Slayer NPCs are custom. There'll be about 6 NPCs, I believe, which they'll have Slayer levels ranging from 95 to 110. And you can kill them for pieces of her spear, where the spear will be one of the best in slot weapons for Slayer tasks. And that will be pretty unique in terms of making Slayer more interactive, more fun, more fast-paced, and more like an RSPS. And also with that, there'll be a second part to it, and that will be the Ascension Expansion, which will bring the monastery, the Monastery of Ascension, which is pretty much like this. And it will be found in Feldup Hills, I believe. And you'll enter the monastery. It'll be a whole new dungeon. The whole thing will be custom made to be similar to the actual Ascension dungeon in RS3, but everything will be much like OSRS, all the models, map, and so forth. So basically, you'll have different Slayer mobs that you have to kill. There'll be 6 of them, where you'll have a chance of signets, and actually, my bad. You'll have chance of keys to fight the Legions, and the Legions will look like this. So pretty much that's the OSRS model that we had created. So there'll be 6 Legions, and they will drop signet pieces that you need all 6 pieces, and you combine it with a Zerdy bow, and we'll create the Ascension crossbow, which will be the best in slot crossbow. It'll be stronger than the Zerati bow, and it will bring probably some unique passive effect and a new special attack for certain pieces of content. It'll be, I don't know, all custom. It won't be like ours at all, but it'll be pretty unique in terms of that. And also with that, it'll bring a Superior Slayer cape for the, or probably Master Slayer cape for Slayer. Don't know anything else about that. I don't really want to give too much spoilers about it, but it should be a pretty cool piece of content. Let's see here. Daily changes. Yeah, so daily challenges will be reworked. Like I said, we have a slot open for end of December where we want to do some sort of tier or streak system and a shop for the points that you receive from the daily task, because as of right now it's just XP. And there's definitely some really cool things we could do with boosters. We could have new boosters. There's so many different things we could do with that, but there'll be a new shop, boosters, and some sort of streak system. So the more that you complete your daily tasks, the more rewards that you receive. Maybe some XP tokens or XP lamps, tomes of experience, maybe an upgraded tome of experience, and a few different things. There's definitely a lot we can expand on there. Slayer partners. I assume you mean Duo Slayer. As of right now, we do offer Duo Slayer, but it's just Social Slayer. It has no benefit aside from the same task as your partner. Whereas I believe you just use a Slayer gem on someone else and you'll be able to do Slayer tasks together. That is definitely a system that we've thought about, and it's a system that we've had in the past. And it is probably something that we want to, bring about, but honestly, no time soon. There's just so much stuff we have to do, but definitely something in the future that we're going to look into. Same with Boss Slayer. That will be coming with the expansion. Forgot to mention that. AFK Zone Drop. It will be probably the majority of it will be all cosmetics. Maybe some skilling items, but probably just all cosmetics, custom cosmetics that can only be received from the AFK arena. And I mean, you can't do anything really crazy because the main effect is just getting people online, keeping voting healthy, high in the top list, and so forth. But majority of it will just be cosmetic items. So that's pretty much it for Slayer. The next part we'll talk about, if nobody has any more questions, will be the entirety of the Wilderness expansion. Because this will be coming up in the next few weeks, probably in December, for Deadman mode, because there's obviously a lot of stuff that we do want to do for Deadman mode. But yeah, if nobody has any more questions about the Slayer expansion, we'll move on. Excuse me, we'll move on to the Slayer or the Wilderness expansion. Alright, so yeah, moving on to the Wilderness expansion. This is something we've actually been planning for quite some time. And just with GIM taking up a great deal of our time, it just wasn't feasible in the last month. But with this, we will be implementing automatic Wilderness events and a bunch of new Wilderness content. Because as of right now, we have the vaults, we have Ganodermic Beast, and a few other minor things. But we want to bring Wilderness chests, Wilderness keys, HP events, PvP hotspots, and Bounty Hunter. So the Bounty Hunter system will work very similar to OSRS. You hunt them down. I know they retired it, but their system before they shut it down with the PvP hotspots. So you hunt your targets, upgrade your emblems, turn in the emblems for blood money. Pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, Danny, yes. The Slayer expansion will bring Boss Slayer. So it will be boss only Slayer tasks. So back to the Wilderness events. We will have Wilderness Keys, Wilderness Chests, HP events, Bounty Hunter, PvP hotspots, and everything will be automated. So you don't have to wait for us to run events. And this will also include tournaments, because tournaments, I would love for them to be, I don't know, every 4 hours, and they can be for 25 mil OSRS GP, maybe by event. Every other event we can do like maybe a $10 donator pin, or I don't know, some miscellaneous item, or a PvP mystery box, something like that. And then also for maybe top 10, we can give people blood money, so the tournaments won't be, so just bland, and only the first person or only the first place winner gets a prize. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that you can do with the Wilderness, and there's definitely a lot of cool things that we want to do. But kind of with that is the Wilderness keys. So we want to have a system that is similar to Laren's keys, but called Wilderness keys. So any monster scaled on their NPC level will drop a Wilderness key, and the Wilderness key will have 4 different kinds: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and those different tiers can be open different chests throughout the Wilderness based on the tier of key that you have, and it'll be announced to the server. X opened a tier 4 casket in X Wilderness, and the Wilderness table will be a lot of PvP supplies, Karasi, PvP gear, things like that, AGS, and so forth. And then with that, Wilderness chests. So right here, the graphic I just played was the Wilderness chest that we implemented. This is going to come, this is mainly due to dead man mode, but we also want to implement it into the main game. So Wilderness chest will spawn every X hours. I don't know the exact time. I basically want every event to be spawning every hour, so there's something new to do every hour. And also they're not overlapping like some events are now. Sometimes a tournament starts when a vault comes in, and that's very annoying. So basically the chest will spawn, and it'll shoot out items from it, and you have to pick up the items, escape if you want to keep them, or fight people there. Pretty simple system, but we'll bring quite a bit of activity there. Also, the other automatic event that we'll be implementing is HP events. So probably only 2 locations we'll do. It'll be in multi. One will probably be, I don't know, West Varrock multi, and the other one Greater Demons, and a NPC will spawn. Whoever deals the top 3 most damage receives items. It'll be announced to the server. Kill those people, get the rewards. Pretty basic system. So yeah, so the Wilderness Vaults, I mean, the main reason behind the easier drop rates is anybody can participate, and I know that's kind of counterintuitive of what we want to do with the Wilderness, and the drop table has been something I have been wanting to look at, but I'll probably look into it. Also, Gano needs to be looked into. You're right. That will be on my list. I'll take note of that. And then also with Wilderness, there is the new Wilderness bosses that are going to be releasing on OSRS. I believe they'll have their own caves or boss instances. Probably not instances, but much like Scorpia, where you enter a cave, fight the boss in the environment, and receive items that way. We will be implementing that as soon as possible whenever OSRS does implement that. That was actually supposed to come out this month, or perhaps last month, but they didn't push the update in time, so we never did it. But that will be implemented, as well as the Wilderness revamp. And the Karasi Sword will probably be changed to the Voidwalker, I believe it's called. And a few different things will be implemented. You know, they upgraded crossbows, Vigora's mace, and so forth. Yeah, Wilderness Vaults will be looked at. I do have pretty much every log of all items that are brought into the economy, and that will be addressed. So that's pretty much it with the Wilderness. I guess we can talk about Deadman mode if nobody else has any questions or concerns about the Wilderness or suggestions. But if not, we'll move on to Deadman mode. Okay. Yep, so Deadman mode is pretty self-explanatory. It'll be a one-to-one system with OSRS. It will have a probably 1 week long season for the very first one. It'll be beta. Yeah, so Bounty Hunter Shop, actually, I don't know if I want... I mean, we'll probably do it. We'll probably have a Bounty Hunter Shop. I don't know what the items will be implemented there. It'll be something we'll have to talk about in the future, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Probably do a community-wide poll in regards to that. But yeah, also I did forget something. Shops are being completely revamped. I know I talked about this in the past, where it's a system much like this, so you can get every item from a singular NPC, and you won't have to be running around, and a lot of players won't get confused from that. So you have everything you pretty much need. This shop is simply a mock-up. None of these items are the final items that will be implemented. Barrels will not be in the shops, none of that stuff. But you can find every item from here, and yes, I did show it in the behind the scenes, but this will be implemented as well when the Bounty Hunter store will be in here as well. But yeah, there will be a system behind Bounty Hunter. But yeah, as for Deadman mode, system will be pretty much one-to-one with OSRS. The very first one will be probably 1 to 3 bill OSRS GP prize pool for the very first one. It is completely a beta event, and I understand there's going to be a ton of bugs. Our combat system is not flawless, and there's a lot of things that we do have to improve upon, and that's the reason behind the beta. I'm sure there's going to be issues with desync, lags, things like that, but that is something that we're aware of and we do want to work on, and that's why we're having the beta. Because when we do host a 10 build Deadman mode, there can't be those issues. There can't be any flaws in the system. It has to be a fair playing field, and it needs to be fair for all. Deadman mode, I want to be doing every other month, if not, yeah, probably every other month. It'll be a second world. There'll be large events. They'll all be 10 bill prizes, if not more, if people really enjoy it. Sigils, probably not for the beta, but it is definitely a system we can implement. As for the final hour, yes, there will be a final hour. There'll be a final hour, and then it will be probably the top 128, and those will just be 1v1s to the death, and whoever wins, they win. Yeah, so nothing side. We did just go over a bunch of the Wilderness events that we're going to be implementing. I'll just give you a quick overview. Wilderness Keys, Wilderness Chests, HP events, Bounty Hunter, and PvP hotspots are all coming within the next month or so, and they'll all be automatic. Same with the tournaments, will be automatic there as well. So But yeah, sigils will not be in the first Deadman mode. It's just a simple beta test. Gonna see how it goes, if people actually enjoy it, and we'll go from there. But it will be a second world. We'll have cross-world PMing. We'll allow people to cash in, cash out of Deadman mode from world to world, and that'll be it. And then also for Deadman mode, if anybody has played Eden RSPS, Leanbow, our lead developer, he did pretty much create majority of those systems, and they did have very well-ran Deadman modes. So that will be something that you'll likely to see from Near Reality. Yeah, so it will definitely be probably 100x XP rate. It'll be quite quick. It will not be something you're gonna have to grind all week for. Buff drop rates, most definitely yes. Yep. And then when we do add sigils, they'll be given from any skilling action. Better the skilling, higher rate of getting them. If you go to TOB, you have a higher rate of receiving them versus killing a man or a cow, things like that. Staff versus world, yeah, definitely. I would love to do that. I think that'll be a lot of fun when we bring out all the wilderness content. We'll probably start doing bi-monthly staff versus world event. I think that'll be a lot of fun. We could stream it in the future. I know this is my very first stream I've ever done, and there's a lot of stuff I have to learn, and there's a lot of cool things we can do with that. Yeah, so I know there's quite a few bugs with the single way combat versus multi-combat, and that's something that's just going to have to come with the Deadman mode beta, whereas we're going to get every single... yes, Trent, it'll be pretty much like OSRS. But as for the singles plus and the issues with the multi combat PJane NPC issue, that'll be ironed out through the Deadman mode beta. That is the reason why we're doing the beta, and we're fully aware that there are going to be bugs, and there's going to be things that we do have to fix, and that's why we're still offering a pretty hefty prize pool for the beta. But yeah. So if you guys have any more questions, let me know. Any concerns, suggestions, and so forth. If not, we'll move on to the next part. All right. Yeah, so we're moving on to pretty much the very last parts. This will be those 2 slots that we have. Okay, Trent has another question. Donator perks for Deadman mode. Yes, we're going to do some sort of monetization. It is going to be very little. But yeah, there won't be much pay to win, but there will be a slight advantage for spending money as we want to be hosting these large events every month. For example, you could buy a sigil mystery box, stuff like that. Probably best in slot gear, no. There will definitely be boosters, maybe sigils in the shop, stuff like that. But there'll be nothing that that drastically changes the gameplay. Like you can't just log into Deadman mode and buy a VLS right off the bat. That's just not something we want to do. Red Skull with higher drop rate for revs. So we do want to actually implement the Red Skull, whereas basically you can, I don't know, we can probably make it so you talk to the implementator and turn on the Red Skull, which basically makes you risk all your items and protect from, or protect item prayer doesn't work, but we could make it increase all drop rates in the wilderness. That could be definitely something we could do. Sigils being tradable, yeah, we'll probably make them tradable. Yeah. Trailblazer League items. Yeah, so that was actually supposed to be in our vote revamp on November 1st. So we want to implement that throughout the vote store, or maybe the loyalty store even. Probably make it quite a hefty price, but all those items will be implemented very soon. So the respawn rate with revs, that is just based off of our worldwide NPC respawn rate, which is something we do have to look into because I believe it's 30 seconds off of OSRS. So that's something we definitely need to look at. For them nulling, I'm not 100% of the issue from that because there was a nulling issue with Zolcano probably 2 to 3 months ago that was fixed, and I believe the only NPC that is having any issues nowadays is a few of the revs. So I will take note of that and we will look into it, but we will 100% fix the respawn rates for all NPCs throughout Near Reality. Pre-prepped supplies in Cox chest. Probably not. There are some things we want to do to make Chambers of Zarek a little bit more, I don't know, quicker, easier for people that don't want to spend, the full 30 minutes. And that is probably implementing some sort of item to skip rooms. And you can buy those for vote points, stuff like that. So if you have a Vestibula in one of your layouts, you can skip Vestibula altogether. That is something we probably would want to do. Implement a few quality of life changes that will make raids a little easier. But as for pre-prepping and things like that, we'll probably never change anything in regards to that. Okay. So I guess the very last two things I want to talk about are the far off updates that are coming out in December for that roadmap slot that we have for custom content. And that will be, there'll be a few things and we'll probably post a poll regarding it. But the options that we have right now are a sacrificial system where I mentioned before, where you can buy new pets, you can buy things that are perks to enhance your gameplay, things like that. And we'd also implement a pet upgrade system. So that will probably be what we're going to be focusing on for that custom content piece. Sacrificial system and pet upgrade system. So that gives you some benefit of grinding out pets. The Heron pet could increase your fishing by 5% or banks all your items from fishing for you. Slayer pet could make, there's tons of content that we can do, or tons of custom content we can do based on all the pets. But I don't know how I want to do that upgrade system. So perhaps if you got a pet, you use some sort of, I don't know, pet token, pet coin, and it'll upgrade the pet to some different variant. We can do a custom model for all the pets, and it'll have a singular upgrade, and the token / coin will be quite hard to get, but you can use it on any pet. It'll enhance the boost. But every single pet, I want to have a base benefit. So for like rune crafting, for example, 10% XP or 50% chance of doubling runes, things like that. There's a plethora of different things we can do. But that will be how the pet upgrade system works. And the sacrificial system will probably be for items, custom pets, and the overall perk system. So that will probably be the custom content piece that we do at the end of December, early January stage. But also with that, there is the whole completionist cape and that whole idea that we want to start working towards, because that was actually a planned update that we wanted to release with. But obviously we have a ton of stuff to do, and it simply got put on the back burner. So this was the original cape design that we had made for Near Reality. So there'll be 3 tiers of capes. The first tier will be just the simple achievement diary done and 99s and everything. And that will have its own set of perks, set of benefits, things like that. And then the second cape will be more challenges. Probably we'll do some sort of combat achievements, and there'll be a lot of different tasks that you have to do, things like that. And then the third cape, I'm not 100% sure what we want to do there yet, but there's going to be a lot of options. Whether it may be 200 mil in all skills, things like that. But that also locks out, 5x accounts, 10x, 20x accounts from ever. Most people will never achieve that. But that will probably be the other piece of custom content that we have. If we do have time, we'll definitely implement those. But you will also be able to change the color of it once you receive the tier 3 cape. We'll probably have a color palette of 40 different capes that you can select. And they'll all be made by our in-house designer, much like these. But yeah, that is pretty much it for what I wanted to talk about today. And then I'll host a overall Q&A session after I'm done talking about pretty much all of this. My bad. I did forget one thing with the Slayer expansion. We will be coming out with Slayer mounts. So these will work with the statue in the Slayer encampment. So this statue will give you the ability to unlock worldwide Slayer boosts based on the helmet that you have. And all of the Slayer helmets, the colored Slayer helmets that is, will have unique boosts. So for example, the Hydra Slayer helmet could give 5% boost to draconic creatures. The Vorkath helmet could have, there's a ton of different perks and boosts that we could do. The Twisted Horns Slayer helmet could give 15% points to Chambers of Zarek, a bunch of different stuff like that. But basically, you'll spend X amount of Slayer points to unlock the statue. You'll place the helmet on the statue, and then they will turn into these statues here. And I believe there is 8 different statues that you can utilize. And then with the completionist cape, we'll have all the new helmets released. The Jod helmet, or the Zuck helmet. I don't know what's her name. The vampire helmet, and so forth. But that was the last bit I wanted to talk about, because I did forget that. So I guess now I will open up overall Q&A for everyone that wants to ask any question about any piece of content. Could be about anything that we didn't even speak about today. So yeah. Let me know if you guys have any questions. If not, that'll conclude the stream, but that's pretty much everything I want to talk about today. And I will probably leave this video live so people can go back, they can look at, and I'll add timestamps to each piece of content and everything that we do talk about. And then I'll leave it open for 2 minutes. And if there's no questions, I'll end the stream. And I really appreciate you guys all joining today. And I got quite a few notes on what we want to accomplish. And hopefully we got a lot of solid information out to you guys. Oh, geez, I totally forgot a whole segment of what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, we are actually doing an entire donator expansion. I can't believe I forgot about this. Yeah, so there's actually, I have a 4-page document on everything that will be changing with the donator shop. Donator perks, donator islands, new mystery boxes, everything. I apologize for forgetting about this. Pretty much we will implement new store items, yell tag scrolls, custom dies for best in slot items such as the twisted bow, new mystery boxes, and a few different other items. But the items aren't going to be the main thing that we're working on. The majority of it is going to be the new mystery boxes and the benefit reworks. So the mystery boxes that we're going to be implementing are PvP mystery boxes, which will have items such as Fury, Elder Chaos, the God Swords, Abyssal Tentacle, all the PvP at weapons and armors, Karasi. Secondaries with a few different roles such as Morrigan Javelins, Throwing Axes, Anglerfish, Karambwan, Sanfus, Super Combats, and so forth. And other items such as just pretty much supplies for all PvP related things. And the Third Age mystery box is the other thing. It'll be Third Age weapons, Druidic, and it will all have a pretty much 1-to-1 ratio for the drop rates. And then the Skilling mystery box. So this will mainly just be uncuts, dragon hides, uncut onyx, zenite shard, ores, amethyst, all bars, herbs, logs, tree seeds, raw food, pure essence, dragon dart tips, dragon arrowheads, dragon to superior bones, and these will be a fair bit cheaper than all the other mystery box variants, but these will probably give you 5 rolls on the table, whatever it may be, but this will be a solid way for new players wanting to get some skilling supplies. So the next part is the benefits, the perks, and the islands. We're going to be adding a great deal to the islands, such as impling spawns to all the islands, the ability to set your home teleport location, the ability to use your Slayer ring to teleport to your task. The starting Inferno wave will be extended. The ability to teleport to the center of the abyss for art. So this is now RDI, Abyss Center teleport, bonfire for fire making. We will have barrow spawns in a cave for RDI plus members. We will have the ability to auto-load your cannon, and the Inferno wave will start at 15 for RDI. For LDI, we'll have Crystal Impling spawns, Dragon Impling spawns, Black Nachappas, Lava Dragons, Revenants, and a new Prayer Pool, which gives all Divine Super Potion actives for 5 minutes. It does not drain unless you step into the wilderness. And a teleport that takes you to the Wilderness Vault or Ganodermic Beast, slower prayer drain rates, and a Inferno Wave starting at wave 20, and a new item obtainable for LDI Plus, which is the Crystal of Memories, which basically teleports to the last area that you teleported from. And then for UDI, there'll be Lucky Impling Spawns, Revenant Dragon, Revenant Dark Beast, Revenant Knight, an Overload Pool, which will work like the Divine Potion Pool, but give you 20 or 120 in all stats. Solar Prayer Drain Rate, and the Inferno starting at wave 30. So that is it for perks and the island expansions. Let me see. Yeah, so the PVM content that I will answer this question after I finish all the information on the donator expansion. So we will also want to implement perks such as picking up bones, clues, herbs, gems, runes, and soul heads, and so forth automatically. That'll be another perk of any donator rank. So even DI, you have a small chance of these things happening, and then each rank above that will give you more chance of picking up the items automatically. So it makes things more AFK and fast-paced. And then also, with those perks on the islands, all of those monsters, such as the Basilisk Knights on RDI, the Revenants that'll be added, the Barrows that'll be added, all those drop tables will be 15 to 20% easier on those islands, on those respective islands. And then with that, we will be implementing drop rate boosts, flat drop rate boosts for all the ranks. Premium will have 1%, Expansion 2%, Extreme 4%, Respected 6%, Legendary 8%, Mythical 10%, and Uber 12%. And this will cap at 20% in total. So let's say you are a Uber donator and a 5x hardcore Iron Man. It'll still be capped at 20 instead of 22. And with that, we will also be adding the drop rate pin. It'll be a 5% boost, and it will cost probably 300 credits. And it will still not stack over 20% if you do have that. And there'll be an in-game command, : drop rate, and you can see what the boost is. So that's pretty much it for the donator expansion. It's unfortunate I didn't talk about that when we had everybody here, but nonetheless. So I'll answer your question now. Yeah, so you can kind of see the differences that we've made with Chambers. We've made it probably 40% easier than OSRS. This is much easier to get purples, and all of the HP scaling, stat scaling is 40% easier than OSRS. So we do offer Cox at a 40% easier method than OSRS. And then also for TOB, we decided to just disable the hard mode and make TOB easier, probably by 30%. And TOB is not a piece of content that is very manageable. It was made to be hard, and it's probably one of the hardest pieces of content in OSRS outside of probably the Inferno and Corrupted Gauntlet. And there's really not much we can do there, aside from scale down the stats, which we did for about 30%. But for all future content, yeah, we are very interested in making it easier for our players and for them to enjoy themselves. And that is why I'm so excited for the Tombstone Mascot release, is because you can sit there with 0 invocations and learn the piece of content and still have a chance at, rare items. And obviously, the harder you make it, the more chance of a rare item. So with that, there's definitely some things we do want to do to make the game easier for people, and I think we've done that through the drop rates. They're probably half of what OSRS is, and I'm fully open to making it easier in the future, but until I see like a great need and change in the game. Probably nothing right now, but with Tombstone Masket and all the future content, we will be, you know, very interested in making it quite easier. Yeah, so raids is quite easy right now. I mean, if you ever done an OSRS raid and you compare it to what we implemented, you know, it's quite easy. And even the Cox, I mean the challenge mode Cox is far easier. I believe it was scaled at 120% in comparison to normal. So Cox was 100%, and then challenge Cox was 120%, and I believe now the scaling is 70% for normal Cox and 100% for challenge mode. So it is 20% easier for challenge mode and 30% easier for normal Cox. So that does make quite a bit of difference, and it allows people to learn. But if we change any of the mechanics and anything like that, it changes a lot of what the content actually is. And that's just, it's hard to balance that out. But I think I did forget a question. How will the Zulk Slayer helmet be obtainable in New Reality? This will probably be from completing the combat achievements that we're going to be implementing. I don't know exactly when we're going to get to that, but that'll be how you get the helmet. So, all right, my guys, that's pretty much it. I will post this video and add timestamps to everything. So if you missed anything, or if there's anything that you want to know, you can follow those timestamps and come back to it whenever. But I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Hope you guys have a great night, but that'll be pretty much it for the stream tonight. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.